It's not often that a car company decides that the best way to get people interested in their cars is to create their own exclusive game for the original Xbox. Today, we'll take a brief look at Drive for Life Volvo. Let's go. I find it hard to even classify this Xbox disc as an actual game, given that more than half of the content contained within are video presentations that I feel like you'd see on a tour at a car factory.
According to an article from the New York Times in 2005, Volvo saw an opportunity to attempt to reach a bigger, untapped audience through what the article refers to as advertainment, sort of a different marketing approach that encourages the viewer to actually engage with the marketing materials, something that companies have had to struggle with in the modern era of short attention span, skip ad as quickly as possible types. The idea here was that they could get a lot more for their advertising money by having a disc packed with Volvo content instead of just being packed into other higher profile racing games. A portion of the 100,000 discs that were printed were intended to be distributed to Volvo dealerships and equipped with Xboxes so people visiting their showrooms could experience a new way of trying out their vehicles. Another portion of those were meant to be given out to prospective customers and even shown off at some of the bigger car shows back in 2005. The article also states that Volvo was in the works with Netflix and GameStop to find other avenues to get the promotional discs into the hands of their target audience, but the article makes no mention of whether those avenues were ever fully realized. Given the lack of a barcode on any copies of this that I've ever come across, it's reasonable to conclude that this game was never actually sold in stores. So being hardly more than a glorified ad space under the guise of being a game, is this really even worth anybody's time?
And maybe I shouldn't talk so negatively about it. The videos themselves are interesting. There's multiple angles of crash test footage for a number of Volvo vehicles, highlights of the Powered for Life event that took place at their Arizona proving grounds, and full video presentations of a number of Volvo models. But beyond the videos, there are video game equivalents of those same Volvo proving grounds, and you can take 4 car models through a series of challenges, including racing up this icy mountain pass to get to a Swedish hotel, doing cone drills against the clock, cruising the Pacific Coast Highway in ever-changing weather conditions, or dodging these moose. Get out of the way, moose! All in all, the driving isn't that bad, but it's about as simulation as you can get. Not arcadey, like a Project Gotham or a Midtown Madness 3. Their goal here is to give you a feel for driving their actual cars, which are known for their ability to keep passengers safe, not necessarily blowing the doors off with speed. The cars control well enough, they corner nicely, they accelerate how I'd expect a mid-range sports sedan to accelerate. At the same time, it's not that they perfected the driving physics here. Customization exists, but is very limited, sticking mostly to exterior paint and interior seat colors, rims, manual or automatic transmission, and headlight types. But you aren't going to go into intense tuning or aftermarket components like you would in a Gran Turismo or Forza. The cars also don't seem to take any visible damage like they do in those games. That's fairly common for a lot of licensed racing games. They certainly don't want to show you what a wrecked Volvo looks like. Or do they? The biggest issue I found here is a lack of replayability. With each car model locked to the race it was intended for, there really are only 4 things you can do beyond watching the videos themselves. So in total, you could easily wrap up the entirety of the content within about a half hour. So the question of whether you should try to find a copy of this for yourself, sure, maybe? It certainly counts toward the Xbox library, but there are better, more robust driving games. Yeah, pretty much every one of them that you'd be better off grabbing if you want a fully featured racing game. But if you're a collector, I don't see how you could pass this one up. But if you aren't collecting for Xbox or really into Volvo cars or simply want an actual racing game, I think you can safely avoid colliding with this one. If you enjoyed this briefing, be sure you're subscribed so you know when the next one drops, and hit that like button. It really does help YouTube know which videos to prioritize sharing with other Xbox fans. I'm always intrigued to hear about games that people love for the system, so let me know in the comments if you've played Drive for Life Volvo or about another one of your favorite Xbox titles. Maybe someday I'll get around to a briefing all about it too. That should about do it today. For XboxerBriefs, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.